Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. In version 14.2, a brand new unit was added to celebrate the game reaching 100 million downloads. This being an Uber variant of Koneko, and in this video, I want to go over on if this unit is able to shine on the stage or if they're just another one-hit wonder. All footage of Koneko shown here is at level 30. This unit also has two different forms with two different functions, and both will be covered in this video. With this out of the way, let's get started. Both Koneko and Superstar Koneko both share most of their abilities with each other, as well as being single target units, but where they differ is that the first form of Koneko is a lot like her other sisters, with the 57-second cooldown and an extremely cheap cost of 148 cents. This makes Koneko the cheapest Uber in the entire game. She deals 5,355 damage and has 33,000 health and has a range of 250. Now for her abilities, shared between both forms, has a 100% chance to slow Traitless and Relics for 2 seconds and is immune to Waves and Curse. Now you might think that this unit isn't good, but there is one major part about this unit that I haven't mentioned yet. This being the fact that she has a 22% chance to summon a level 2 Wave, a level 2 Surge, an Explosion, and Savage Blow, along with a 12% chance to crit. All of these allow her to have the strangest form of area attack in the game, with around a 53% chance to activate one of her AoE abilities, with a 67% chance of activating any of her extra abilities at all. I'm going to say right now, however, that the first form is in 99% of situations not recommended over the second form, as this form just has poorer stats in every regard outside of cooldown and cost. A lot of the major Relic and Traitless threats you want to slow outrange her, only allowing her to really be useful for melee control against enemies like Cory and Oldhorn, though because of her vast array of AoE abilities, you can use a Stepping Stone, though again, her second form doesn't need to rely on the AoE abilities to hit the plethora of Relic and Traitless enemies that outrange her first form. Speaking of the second form, let's turn our attention to Superstar Koneko. Superstar Koneko gains a large health boost, now sporting 71,000 health and dealing 11,000 damage with 450 standing range. Her cooldown is increased to 191 seconds, giving her a similar cooldown as most Iron Legion Ubers. She also gets more expensive, but compared to other Ubers is still really cheap, costing 2,100 to send out. Her damage output is all over the place due to the fact that she has a ton of AoE effects that have a chance to activate, but the average DPS is around 14,000 to a single target and 6.8k DPS to any other enemy. In her second form, she becomes not only a great crowd control unit against Traitless and Relic, she also becomes an excellent attacker. Because of her rather fast attack rate, she is able to consistently pull off at least one of her AoE effects and can sometimes throw in a crit or Savage Blow, multiplying her damage even further. As for her crowd control effects, she has a really good uptime of 82%, meaning as long as one of her AoE effects triggers, you can keep her targets slowed for a long while. Her role as a Traitless crowd control unit doesn't really go contested. Her high standing range allows her to outrange many deadly enemies like Aros, Rain D, and pretty much every crazed and manic cat, which can make these stages way easier to deal with. Her wave immunity also allows her to be an excellent option on floor 30, and her AoE abilities allow her to knock away any peons that might get in their way. However, there is a masked individual in the room that makes her niche as a Relic crowd control unit not as uncontested. Euro's AoE slow is way more consistent than Koneko's, as his 100% consistent surge with nearly 100% uptime makes him a much more consistent option for Relic CC, and his true form gives him a lot of amazing boosts and damage thanks to the strong ability. However, in saying that, doesn't mean that Koneko is worse in the crowd control department, but because this unit is literally a built-in slot machine, if you need consistent crowd controlling, then she may not be the best pick. This consistency is the same for her total damage output, because she does, and often does, deal good damage on the field. The inherent fact that her lack of total consistency can make it difficult to bring her in 100% of situations. Her extremely long cooldown is also another downside, as if she dies early, you will not be getting her back for a long while. Unlike most units that have some sort of consistency when it comes to performance, this unit's performance is all over the place. Sometimes you can get extremely lucky with landing all sorts of effects, while other times she doesn't do anything and just dies. However, she is at least consistent enough to where I could say she is a solid damage dealer in most situations due to a rather high effective chance to activate at least one of her AoE effects. and her being anti-traitless gives her a lot of value in the early game, while her relic targeting gives her a lot of value during the end game. Before I end this review, I want to break down the actual chances of her effects occurring. To have any of her 5 abilities activate, she has around a 67% chance to activate her Wave, Surge, Explosion, Crit, or Savage Blow. Removing her Crit and Savage Blow from the equation, she now has an effective 40% chance to activate any of them. Activating 2 of these effects effectively bring down the odds to 11%, and if all 3 activate, then it's around 1.1%. Activating at least one AoE effect, along with either a Crit or Savage Blow, is around a 31% chance to do so. Savage Blow, along with any other AoE effect, is also 11%. Crits and an AoE effect is around 6.3% chance. Activating both Crits and Savage Blow together is around a 2.6% activation chance, and if you throw in an AoE effect in there, this effect drops down to a 1.4%. If she were to activate both Crit and Savage Blow, her damage is multiplied by 6. Last is the holy grail of every single effect happening at once, which is a minuscule 0.0028% chance, or a 1 in 3,557 chance of activating. To explain how rare of an occurrence this is, let's use another game's extremely rare odds, the base odds, to find a shiny Pokemon from Generation 6 onward. The odds of this are a 1 in 4,096 chance and a 1 in 1,365 chance with the shiny charm, effectively making Koneko hit every single effect at once, this game's form of shiny hunting. If she does activate all of her effects at once, she will deal 30 times her base damage for a whopping 349,350 damage. Again, it must be stressed that this event will almost never happen, and if it does, then you better hope it will be on a hit that changes the course of a major battle, like a legend boss stage or a difficult Craze Cat stage. With all that said, I want to thank you for watching this analysis of Koneko. If you thought this insight was interesting, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy Battlecast content, and comment down below your thoughts on Koneko. I'd love to hear what you all think of them. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Dr. Deadly, Potato King, Gross Cat the Best, Barely Grover, Uberless, and Erbriel for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shout out like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on, and channel members receive an exclusive role on my Discord server, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.